Alrighty guys, here we go. We have a StarCraft 1v1 here. This was a game from the New World Gaming mini tournament that we did just a few days ago. This is the first match of the finals. It was a best of 3 in the finals, and it was between NwGG's Sundowner as the blue Terran and Epy as the red Protoss. Epy would be spawning in the top right hand corner and Sundowner in the bottom left hand corner. I did cast this on my live stream channel, so that would obviously be why Epy was wishing me good luck. The entire tournament was casted on the live stream channel, which if you guys want to go check it out, I do random casts of random games as well as just arcade games that I can play with anybody in the chat, and fun stuff like that. Sometimes I ladder, whatnot. I'm going to be getting into playing some other games like CK2 and things like that on the live stream channel. But for now, it is StarCraft. So stay tuned for that. You can check that out at Twitch TV/WarBattle12. And you could follow me on Twitter. I give updates for the Twitch streams and things like that at WarBattle12 on Twitter. So you can follow me there as well. But back into the game here, we are going to see barracks and 2 supply depots on the high ground, as well as gateway after pylon going into one gas instead of 2. Looks like he's just doing a normal routine scout here, going around searching absolutely everywhere on his way over, just to make sure there's no proxies, no craziness going on. We are going to see the gas come right about the same time as the barracks, which is pretty good timing. It will usually mean Marines, not Reapers, just because of the timing of the gas. The gas is not extremely early to be able to show any type of Reaper build here. We will have a second gas slightly later than the first gas. I think that's just because he wanted more probes on the mineral line to increase the amount of minerals obviously he's going to get. So we may see some zealot aggression, or maybe, I have no idea, probably just zealot aggression in my opinion would be the one thing that I would think would be on the way. We're going to see Sundowner come scout this. He's going to see, okay, 1 probe, so that gas must be fairly new, not an old gas, just because it has 1 probe in it. So we have 1 probe up here, 3 probes down here. I'm thinking he's going to switch it to 2 probes, and that would make sense. He'd get a mothership core out, going to be able to get that warp gate going. It should come up as soon as he has 50. Just in a few seconds, we should see the warp gate come out. There we go, the warp gate. And we are going to see an eBay go down here to block this expansion for a while, just to kind of make it a bit annoying and force Epy to kind of show his hand if he's going for any type of early aggression. And he could go for some type of early aggression if he got 2 stalkers and a mothership core. He can go kind of poke at the front door, kill some Marines, things like that. But we are going to see a reactor go down on the factory here. Factory right after the barracks. And that usually means, and the armory, so we're probably going to see here is a mech build, which is very common if you see a very fast factory, off of obviously 2 gas very quickly. Armory right after the factory pretty much automatically shows that really he's going to go for some type of mech build. And we're going to see another gateway go down here. So 2 gates for Epy, now putting the full probes into his gases and taking an expansion. So we're not going to see any type of early aggression out of Epy. It looks more like we're going to see maybe try and take a little bit of a longer game. We're going to see a forge come down, so it's not even going to be 3 gates. So it's a very conservative play here. We got a second sentry coming out, so almost playing it as if he was playing a Protoss in a PvP, but he really isn't scared, really, I think, at this point. He doesn't really know what his opponent is going because he wasn't really able to fully scout due to the front, so he doesn't know what the gas timing is, whether he's going a bio build or whether he's going a mech build. But we have the starport coming down very quickly as well, and double factory. So double factory with the one vehicle weapons upgrade and double Hellbat. So we might see Hellbat drops here as the reactor goes down on the starport. It would have been better for him to switch the factory and the starport, in my opinion. Put the factory here, or put the starport here with the reactor. Would have been able to make double medevacs. But now, when I think of it, that really wouldn't fit the position just because he's not going for a bio build, so he doesn't need that many medevacs. We're going to see a Widow Mine sneak in here. And it's got range. If he moves any of his stalkers over this area right here, they're going to instantly take a lot of fire there. And he's got a very gateway-heavy army at this point. He's throwing down 2 more gates, so he's going to be up to 4 gates here. And do we have 1 upgrades finished? No, we don't have any upgrades started on the forge here. But we have a very nicely saturated second base as well. So Epy's got a huge economic lead right now on his opponent, and he's going to be able to throw down those things, throw down the double assimilators down, the double assimilators down on his natural expansion, which gives him a great economic lead now. I don't believe Epy was actually able to spot anything. Nope, just still spotting these front entrance buildings here. We do have the CC coming down for Sundowner, so he is going to be expanding now. He's actually a lot later than his opponent in an expansion, but he's going to know exactly when his opponent goes to do anything. He got 1 kill with this Widow Mine here, and I think it was on a stalker because he had 2 stalkers prior to this point. So he killed off a stalker, which is a great pickoff, especially if it's by a Widow Mine, so it's pretty much for free at that point. And with the Widow Mine, it's now ready, so if anything else moves across here on accident, he obviously knows the Widow Mine is here. You can see here, he does know the Widow Mine is in that location due to the little black mark on the ground. But really, he doesn't have any detection, so he can't actually see anything. Oh, if those stalkers accidentally step on it. Oh, that could be... Oh, just in range. He just had a foot in the range of that Widow Mine. So the Widow Mine's got a second kill now. And if we look at units lost here, yep, 350 minerals lost here, which is a huge difference compared to, you know, a smaller amount like 125 that we see from Sundowner. And it's 350 resources for pretty much for free here. He could have stopped them at 150 or 175, I believe it is, 175, with just getting 1 stalker killed. But instead, he accidentally, with just a foot, got the other stalker killed. We do have an observer out, though. The observer will be able to spot this. And, oh, he gets a 3rd kill off on that Widow Mine, which really isn't bad for a Widow Mine with no real backup. He did get 1 sentry and 2 stalkers with that. He's going to be able to scout out this army. Okay, the army really isn't too big at this point. Okay, I see. All right, you're throwing down 2 gates and a Twilight Council. So now he's up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gates right now. 7 gates. That right there, if we see here, he did spot all the gates. So 7 gates, and he's got a robo. No robotics bay that Sundowner can see, and he obviously doesn't have one. But we do see Sundowner does know that he's doing this. I don't believe... Yes, he knows about the forge. Okay. So he knows about the forge, and he is taking a 3rd CC now, which I think is a great move. If you see that your opponent is going for a very gateway-heavy army, but you really have this mech army that's going to be able to hold it off if it does come to it. He has tanks coming out, you know. He actually has 2 CCs coming, so I think he either is double expanding or one of them's going to be a planetary. But he needs to saturate this base here a lot more. It's not very saturated. We are going to see this hallucinated Phoenix come in, though, and he is going to spot this mech build, which really could be confused for a bio if you don't scout it out correctly. But obviously, looking at these Marines, they don't have combat shields, so it shows that they're really not very well upgraded. And by this point, at the 13-minute mark, you definitely should have those combat shield as Terran, especially if you see your opponent is going for a very gateway-heavy army. You definitely should have that. Oh, we're gonna see a nice drop here by Sundowner. Let's see how many kills did that actually do. 13 worker kills. Wow, 13 worker kills there for Sundowner. A huge pickoff. Just definitely hurts Epy. Look, he has nothing mining on that mineral line in his main here. He's going to go over here and he's going to take a third expansion, though. But that is instantly going to get scouted out by Sundowner, who has that SCV in a great position. If we look here, he does scout out that expansion going down, and Epy is going to move out for a bit of a counterattack at the same time. Now, that was a great move there. He did force a photon overcharge. He lost one of his Hellbats, but he killed 13 probes. Now, 13 probes at the 14-minute mark is so hard to deal with, especially when now he evened it up again. He was very far ahead in workers, and now he's evened it up. And with the mules that Sundowner can drop, he instantly will get that income bonus that can come. Look at this. 19 workers on his main and a good 9 workers on his natural, and he's now expanding with that to that third base here. He's going to see, okay, it's a very heavy mech build here. Now, what is Epy's response to this type of build? Really, what he needs to do as Protoss, he needs to get away from the gateway units. He needs to go Void Rays, which Void Rays are amazing because they have that bonus against armored units. They'll do great against the mech composition of a Terran player, because really the only type of mech composition unit that they can use is they can bring out a bunch of Marines to try and deal with it, or they can try and bring out Thors. But we are going to see an attack come here. He hallucinates 2 Colossus here to try and soak up a lot of the damage, but keep in mind those Colossus don't do any damage, so they're just kind of sitting there. And we're going to see these Marines, they're outstretching themselves a bit, but those siege tanks, with the tanking ability of the siege tanks and the tanking ability of the Hellbats and the Marines, they were able to keep this army away from the siege tanks and keep control of that situation the entire time. Now, he's going a lot of Zealots here, which is a great style in this matchup. Ooh, and a Warp Prism coming down. So a Warp Prism could do a lot here. He could really do some good drops with that Warp Prism, especially because the speed boost that came in with the recent patch to the Protoss. That Warp Prism can just zoom on by and get right into position in a great spot. Now, we do have a lot of cannons down here in the main, preventing any type of drop from coming again, but he really needs to get this base saturated here. He obviously has to know that that SCV is sitting there, but Sundowner's just happy enough leaving it there. He's going a lot of Zealots here, which is okay, but they melt to Hellbats. But they're a very good kind of tanky unit. Now, really, back to what I was saying, the best composition here for the Protoss in this position is you got to go a lot of Immortals to kind of tank a lot of damage, and Archons. Archons only do extra damage to biological, so they'll completely wipe out all the Marines that are left. They won't do a whole lot to the siege tanks and the Thors and things like that, but what they will do is they'll be able to soak up a lot of the damage of those siege tanks. Really, with a mech build, the biggest thing that I find with a mech build is the initial splash. The initial splash is the big thing about it. With the siege tanks, that initial big ol' siege tank attack is really the danger of it. Once you can get rid of that, and once your units as a Protoss can suck up all that damage, you'll easily be able to move on from that, and the Zealots will have time to then move into. And once the Zealots get into range, it's instantly no problem. Now, obviously, like we see here, double Stargates, so we are going to see probably Void Rays coming out, and Void Rays are automatically a great counter to a mech build by a Terran. Because the Thor is the only unit that really in a mech build, besides making a bunch of Marines, that can attack air. Now, you could get Vikings. You could get Vikings in this situation, which I think would be a very good thing. Once he needs to scout out that this double Stargate is coming, and then start Viking production and more Thor production. Now, he has 3 factories right now. Now, 3 factories is a good amount for a mech build. He needs to keep with the upgrades. Now, his upgrades right now is +2 vehicle weapons, which is really good. He's going to move out here with 3 Thors and a lot of siege tanks. But at the same time, the Warp Prism is then gonna move in because because the observer does see that his units aren't there, and we're gonna warp in a bunch of zealots here. That is an insane amount of zealots, and they're gonna do a whole bunch of damage here. They're just gonna fly into this mineral line here and just start killing off SCVs. They didn't get a whole lot of SCV kills, but what they did what they did was stop the mining of the SCVs on this mineral patches here. So by doing that, it really prevents him from having any type of economy, and he's moving these SCVs way too far away to be of any use at all. Like, he had his army here in a great position to be able to deal with that. He could have kept the SCVs right here, or anywhere around here. And then as soon as that's taken care of, he can move them all right back into position. Now, he really, I don't know what he's doing with these SCVs. He's just kind of leaving them here. They're no use over there, and really his opponent is on 4 bases now, but only about 3 of them are actually mining. He has the +1 weapons coming for the air, as well as more Void Rays. He has 4 Void Rays, gonna get 2 more. Now he has 6 Void Rays, which at this point, 6 Void Rays, he could attack with this composition and completely melt his opponent's army, because his opponent only has 3 Thors. And yeah, okay. I was just making sure that from that angle it looked like the Punisher cannons were on, and I was like, oh, if the Punisher cannons go down right now, that is such a horrible situation, because the Punisher cannons obviously stop the javelin missiles. So without the javelin missiles, you can't actually attack the air at all. Did that observer get taken out? Yeah, it looks like the observer did get taken out. Now, the observer was very key in that original situation. Did it come back here? I have no idea where the observer went, but that observer was so key in the original situation, because with that observer, he was able to spot when that army was moving out, which made it a perfect time for him to move in this Warp Prism over here and drop those Zealots, which did a whole lot of damage here. Now he's sending all his SCVs now back, but he's way overly saturating that base here. He needs to lift this base off, take that 4th, put some of those SCVs there, and go on from there. But it looks like he's gonna go for this attack here, and he needs to scout out what Epy's composition is. Now, Epy did a perfect counter to this build here. He has plenty of Immortals, plenty of Zealots to tank damage, a lot of Stalkers, in my opinion. It's a bit more than I would have liked to see. Does he have Blink? He has Charge, so that's good. Oh, but here we go. We're going to see the composition here. We're going to see, oh, what is that called? What is it called? Oh, I don't even know. Full Prismatic Alignment, I think it is, for the Void Rays. I always forget what that's called. But yeah, just melts that army instantly. Just like there was no defense against that at all. And at this point, Sundowner's in such a terrible spot. He's down 50 supply. He has really no army. If we check the army supply, he has a 47 army supply to the 84 army supply of Epy, but Epy's composition completely counters Sundowner's composition. He doesn't have any biological units to try and counter the Void Rays. It's all armored. He throws down a bunch of these. He throws down 2 more starports, and it looks like he's trying to go for planetaries here, but planetaries aren't going to do anything to those Void Rays. Void Rays can just sit here and attack the units all day long, attack these CCs, do whatever they want to do here, and they're just completely walking through this force here. He's to cancel these starports. Oh, no, doesn't cancel any of the starports here. Pulls all the SCVs off, trying to escape with them, but none of them are going to survive. They all get completely murdered here, and that's revenge for that Hellbat drop earlier in the game. He's now up to 38 worker kills, Epy is, which is insane at this point in time, especially. And this CC is gonna get attacked by these Void Rays, and eventually he's gonna get taken down. Not eventually, but very, very, very quickly. Look how quickly those Void Rays completely melt that force here. And if we look, they do 11 damage to armored, and their DPS is so insane because of how just Void Rays attack so quickly that they melt armored units like these. All of these are going to... Oh, he used the Punisher. I knew those were Punisher cannons. That is just obvious. That is horrible. I don't know if he knows that, but when you use the Punisher cannons, it disables the Javelin missiles. And really, the danger of this enemy composition here is the Void Rays. The Void Rays are the only thing that is getting in Sundowner's way. If he can eliminate the Void Rays, he eliminates the army. Now, Epy does have a bunch more Void Rays back at his home, which he can pretty much automatically use. He has the Fleet Beacon coming, which I can only expect is going to be Tempest, because at this point, Tempest would just melt his composition completely. He won't be able to get... Sundowner won't be able to get in range to actually fight Epy at this point, with the Void Rays keeping him in a forward position, and then the Tempest just taking control of the fight from a far back position. But we're going to see double expand again, like Epy did on his 3rd and 4th. He's going to take a 5th and a 6th at the exact same time, while Sundowner's trying to take a new 3rd base. He needs a new 3rd base, and he could still lift this off. I think he's actually forgotten about this orbital command, which he could lift off over here and turn it into a 4th base to try and catch up, because all he can do right now is just try and catch up. He is just so behind economically right now. If we look at his worker count, he's only got 20 workers to the 72 of Epy. Epy's economy, if we check it out at the income tab here, it's 1,500 to 600 in minerals. There's no way that Sundowner is going to be able to catch up to Epy in this game with that low of a mineral count. And he only has 1 Viking, I think, at this point. Yeah, just 1 Viking. 1 Viking is not going to beat 4 Tempests. Holy crap. 4 Tempests are coming in right now. And it's just the +1. If I was him, I would go for the +2 on the air weapons, just because he's going for a very air-heavy composition. And with the +2, he'll just he's going to melt everything with the +1 already. So with a +2, it's going to make it just that much faster. We see 4 Tempests on the field here, 4 Epy. Still got this Warp Prism. Now, he could take this Warp Prism over here and go mess with this line here. He does have all those mules, which we're going to see the income tab boom up. He is overwhelming Epy in the income tab here, but that really just doesn't matter, as Epy, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know about these bases here that are going up. He's building more CCs, which he doesn't need to do here. He has plenty of CCs just kind of hanging out. He's got an orbital here, an orbital here, an orbital here, another orbital here, got an orbital here, 2 planetaries. He is like the CC master right now, and right now, I think his composition, they're 3-0, which for armored units is actually really good. If we see here the Javelin, it does 18. It's only going to do 9 damage to these Void Rays, though, because the Void Rays are armored units. The Void Rays are armored, so are the Tempests. So, really, the Thors are not going to be that good. Thors are only good. Really, I think Thors are really the only good... Well, it can change. Thors are really good to counter Mutalisks, because Mutalisks are light units, and they clump up a lot. And, oh, here we go. It's going to kick off. So, obviously, Mutalisks are light units. They clump up a lot, and the Thor attack is a splash damage attack. So the Tempest pretty much right here, just gonna siege him out here. He's gonna have to pull this army here. That's obviously a Punisher cannon, so it's not gonna do that much. Now it is gonna pretty much completely melt all these ground units. Well, really, he has these Hellbats, which are doing a great job at tanking a lot of the damage of this ground army. And if it was only a ground army for Epy, Sundowner would win 9 times out of 10 right now. But because he has no air, he has no way to actually stop this force. It's only air really left for Epy, but that's all he needs. He has 8 Tempests here with the +2 attack about to finish. And once the +2 attack finishes, it's, look at that, just one-shotting with all those Tempests a Viking. Vikings can't even stand up to this composition here. And right now, it does 90 damage against massive and 36 against regular things. So if Sundowner were to bring out, let's say, obviously the massive units for Terran are obviously the battle cruisers. So battle cruisers just would completely melt to Tempest. Tempest, in my opinion, just such a great unit. And at this point, it's definitely over for Sundowner. Sundowner has no chance at coming back in this game. He had a great start to the game, which I think once he had that initial fight with Epy, he really could have come back and actually attacked him, counterattacked after he won the first one, and he really could have done a lot of damage if he would have done that. But because he waited so long to actually do anything, it pretty much ended that opinion. Now we are going to see these zealots come in here, and yeah, he's got a planetary here, but the planetary is just not going to do enough damage to these zealots in enough time, and he's only going to lose probably 3 zealots here. No, he's going to lose 6 zealots here, but out of 10, that's not too bad to take down a planetary. It pretty much empties his income here. His income on minerals is 0, which means he's pretty much completely dead at this point. The Tempest and everything, I think Epy is almost just taunting him at this point. It's just, Sundowner has nothing, and Epy, even if he automatically died for some random reason, he has such a bank to fall back on that he doesn't even have to worry about it. Sundowner, just no bank at all at this point. Now, I don't know why he's building these Hellbats, because Hellbats don't attack air. Now, Hellbats do no damage to air, and really at that point, we're going to see the GG from Sundowner with all those. Look at all those zealots. That is insane, that many zealots. But yeah, so that'll end this game here, which was a pretty good start to the best of 3. Sundowner obviously a little out of his league here against Epy, but he played a very good game. I enjoyed his mech style. It caught Epy off guard, I think, in the beginning, because he really didn't have a hard counter for that mech style. That mech style is very good, but once a Protoss can get understanding about that mech style, and once he can start massing up those Void Rays, you have to defeat the Protoss before he gets to this stage, before he gets this kind of army with these kind of two attack upgrades and 1 shield upgrades. You have to kill that army off before they get to this point. If you let them get to this point, you're not gonna win. You have to literally have like 6 bases, have that kind of income to be able to stand up to this. But I think Sundowner played a great beginning of the game. He just had a rough mid-stage going into the late stage. His mid-game was pretty good, because that was really when the fight happened. It was his transition from the mid-game to the late game. I think he should have attacked, done a little bit more harassment, tried to cancel bases, done what he could to try and keep Epy on his feet, keep him defensive, and not let Epy build up so much. Because he let Epy build up so much, it really made it hard for him to actually do anything in the long run. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part. It was a great first game. I'm going to go cast the second game, so stay tuned for that one. I believe the second game is on Whirlwind. And yeah, that should be a really good one. Whirlwind, a very big map, very macro-heavy map, so really could favor the Terran player on a macro map like that, because he'll obviously, and there's a lot of airspace, so he can do a lot of drops on that map. We saw in the beginning of the game with the 13 workers killed due to those Hellbats was just an amazing drop that he had, but I think he should have continued those drops. Done maybe 2 or 3 more Hellbat drops. They could have really weakened Epy a lot. Getting 13 kills on 2 Hellbats is an amazing trade, you know? But because he stopped that, it really hurt him in the long run, because Epy was able to do that perfect transition from the mid-game to the late game. And really, the mid-game is where Terran shines the most. Late game is a lot of the time, especially when you can get to this type of composition, that type of Sky Toss composition is really where the Protoss, I think, just shines the best, in my opinion. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the second game in this best of 3 finals. I've been War Battle. Please like the video and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, queries, whatever. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.